campus of Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey, the GCEN presents the New Jersey State Football Championships. Today, the Clayton Clippers take on the Pennsville Eagles. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Frank Delano. An absolutely picturesque day. Sunny, clear skies, about 55 degrees. A beautiful afternoon for two great football teams. Two teams that didn't anticipate being here. You know, it's funny, when you write a story, you always want a Cinderella story, but what happens when you have two Cinderellas? Who do you root for? The Clayton Clippers have never won a state championship in their school's history. Pennsville has not won one since 1981. Somebody's going to come out on top, and it will always be remembered in each of these small towns as a tremendous afternoon, but only one team will hoist the championship. Frank, you're a coach who's been here before, 3 state championships in 5 years at Haddonfield. Talk a little bit about the atmosphere and just how special it is to be here.
No doubt. It's a privilege. It's an honor. It's an exciting, everyone has goals in the beginning of the year. Everybody, this is where you want to be. You want to see that bus drive up the Rowan and get here. And you sit here, fans are here an hour before kickoff, people in the parking lot. It's just an unbelievable atmosphere. And, I think the biggest thing as a coach, you want to emphasize, it's week 12. It's week 12. It's the same game, maybe a different venue. It's going to be a ton of fans here. Unbelievable opportunity for these communities, and both head coaches deserve a lot of credit of getting their guys to the dance.
You mentioned that it is week 12. Of course, these two teams met back in week 1, and it was Clayton who fell short against Pennsville. Their defense is going to have to come up big. They lost 23-19. They're probably going to have to limit them to fewer than 3 touchdowns.
No doubt. Anytime you're playing a no-huddle team, you have to make sure that first of all, practice tempo is critical. And how do you practice against it? How do you simulate that in practice? It's big. And then they give you, several looks, and there's a lot of challenges. But Clayton's has a lot of talented football players on their side. They like to mix it up defensively, give you different looks, odd man fronts, even man fronts, mix up coverages, a little man, little too high shell. It's going to be interesting to see which way they're going to attack Pennsville today. For Pennsville,
they are coached by Ryan Wood, a man who brought their baseball team to 4 state championships. Now he's focusing on football, trying to win a championship. They're first for Pennsville since 1981. Whenever you talk to an opposing coach, the first thing they talk about that this is a well-coached team. They have an offense that will give you headaches.
Oh, no doubt. Pennsville's offense, in terms of, just in terms of their execution, and how quickly they try to go, but they've also changed tempos on you. And when you get a team that's fast, slow, on a defense, you got to get your calls in. Sometimes you're forced to go a lot of base stuff. And when you're in base, it becomes a little bit easier to play offensive football.
Absolutely. For the Clayton Clippers, Elijah Rem is just a flat-out playmaker. He's a guy that has a high motor, great football acumen. He blocks punts. He kicks extra points. He kicks field goals. He's a receiver. He's done it all.
He truly has. And you sit there and you watch a little of their tape last week. And listen, you said it a little. Clayton's going for their first title. And you need special guys to make special plays in big-time games. Your best players got to play their best. Well, he definitely brought it, especially last week. And Elijah, he's just been a guy. He's got almost 800 yards, all-purpose yards. He can catch the ball from an offensive standpoint. He's their leading receiver with over 400 yards on the year. He's got 138 yards rushing. But then he's also got 62 tackles from the safety position, 7 tackles for losses. So this guy, he's going to mix it up a little bit. And honestly, you watch first possession of the game last week against Glassboro, block punt, recovered his own fumble for a touchdown. I think he also has an interception return for a touchdown, a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Hey, Elijah, special teams could be the difference in his game today. You never know. So, hey, there's no job too big or small for him, and it's really going to be fun to actually see him play live.
A lot of times when we watch football, we focus on the skills positions, but when you ask Coach Wood who's the most important player on his team, he says it's Ryan Simpkins. This is a kid who plays on both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensively, a huge, emotional, vocal leader. Their only loss, they were winning that game. He got hurt, and then they got blown out.
When you had a conversation with Coach Wood this week, you heard the excitement come through the phone when his name came up. And he's a 5'8", he's a 185-pound kid, but he said, you know what? That's what Pennsville football is all about. He's what you want your program to represent. He's the heart and soul of our team. He's kind of our heartbeat. You watch him defensively, he's a sideline-to-sideline kid. We had a chance to watch the Pennsville tape when we were getting ready for Woodstown in the first round of the playoffs this year, and he was all over the field. He made plays in the backfield. He played plays. He was carrying pass routes down the field, carrying verticals. He's just a phenomenal football player, and you watch him up front. Clearly, he gets the line right. Maybe, I don't know, again, all their injuries because he's setting coverages, pass protections and things. But you watch this kid play. He definitely plays bigger than his size. And, one of these, he's going to have to play big again if they want to have their first crown since 1981.
Pennsville coming into today trailed at halftime each of the last two games, 6-0 and 13-0 in the playoffs. They're going to want to score first, but for Clayton, they probably need to score first. That very well may be the difference. Stick around, we'll have the opening kick for you in just a moment. Welcome back to Rowan University here in Glassboro, New Jersey. About to kick it off, and it'll be Elijah Rem to take care of business for Clayton. And Pennsville has the option of being out on offense first. We mentioned before that offensively, Pennsville, just so many different threats. And back to receive the kick, Brennan Rico for Pennsville, along with number 3, Seth Simpkins. A beautiful day, Elijah Rem to do the honors here, and we are underway in Glassboro. High booming kick taken at the 11-yard line. Looking for a seam, crosses the 20, breaking one tackle, falls forward at the 26-yard line. A nice start for Pennsville. Brendan Rico on the return.
Nice fill there by Devin Carr. They had a nice little seam there. It was a really nice play. Got to get that first play jitter out.
Undoubtedly, both of these teams are extremely nervous. We mentioned before, Clayton has never won a state championship. In fact, in their long history, they have only won one playoff game, have only appeared in the playoffs twice prior to this season. And looks
left
like
the tee on the field. Left the tee on the field.
They need the dog. We mentioned Pennsville with that tremendous offense, a spread, typically working out of the pistol or the shotgun. First down and 10 at the 26-yard line. Handoff, and Clayton's defense, which has been a strength all season long, stopping Pennsville for a loss of 1.
That's a great play there by number 31, Caleb Brooks, getting involved early. Coach said could have a big part in today's game.
Pennsville has forced 26 turnovers during the year. That'll be something to keep an eye on. Second down, we'll call it 11. Again, the handoff outside the tackle and a big pickup. We'll call it 8. A fine carry by Simpkins.
Tackle by Justin Bryan.
It looks like they'll spot it at about the 29-yard line, and that'll bring up the first third down of the afternoon. You can see that Pennsville favors that hurry up. P.J. Halter, your starter in the shotgun. Quick swing pass, taken at the 30, across the 35, cut down, and it looks like it'll be enough for the first down. A nice little play by Pennsville, showing their versatility. Once again, Brennan Rico on the reception. First down, Pennsville.
Yeah, the corner, Tyreek Jackson, had a chance to make that play in the backfield and get the punt team out for Pennsville. Really nice tackle by Michael Gibson.
P.J. Halter, your quarterback, he is a junior. They literally use both quarterbacks about evenly. They started with Halter, and they'll probably go with him as long as he works. Inside screen, and this time Rico with a pickup of about 3.
Screens are great in the no-huddle scheme, Rob. You get guys coming and coming and coming. Next thing you know, you slip one behind. It's a real nice play by Jackson, actually an outside linebacker.
Second down and 7. Again, Halter with the 2 receiver set. And Halter will look over, slow things down, and look for guidance from Coach Wood and the Pennsville staff. Halter fakes the first handoff, goes to the fullback. Again, maybe 1 or 2.
Little misdirection there. 81, Rob Sullivan did a nice job trying to come around from his right slot position, try to create some space here for Van Blarkham.
Again, a critical third down here. Long third down's probably less of an issue for Pennsville than Clayton. This is a team that feels comfortable throwing the football. Halter, 2-step drop, a lot of time, has a man in the flat, throws underneath, has his man, and that's a first down. finds the big guy. P.J. Halter hooking up with his tight end, Robbie Solon, one of the best in South Jersey, and they have a first down.
It's a big target there. That's a 6'6", 230-pound kid right there.
Solon, a kid who's had major Division I offers already, including Michigan State. First down and 10. And this time it's Halter on the keep, and Halter plows forward. And forward progress will take him just outside the 40-yard line. And now they're saying that the ball was loose. The officials ruled that, in fact, Pennsville maintained possession. We mentioned before that this is a team that likes to strip the football.
Real nice misdirection play there. You have your back crossing, you're crossing the midline there, and you're actually running a little quarterback trap away. It's really nice. It's a nice play. Pick up about 5 yards on first down. 2nd and 5 is a great position to be in as a play caller.
18 interceptions, 26 turnovers on the season for Clayton. They stop his forward progress at the 43-yard line. 2nd down, we'll call it 5. Halter hands it off again, and the bull rush. You can see Clayton is seemingly more interested in stripping rather than tackling.
Yeah, it's true. And right there, it's just a good old power play. You know, it just had a shotgun giving you the deception of being in spread, but that's just a straight-on power right there.
First down and 10. Pennsville moving the ball well here on their first series of the first quarter. Again, a handoff and a lot of room. This time, a relatively short pickup of just 4 or 5 yards for Simpkins.
And that's A.J. Pasquale. That is, coach couldn't say enough about him pregame, about how he's real, sound defensively. Hit a real nice stop. They just went back-to-back consecutive plays. Same exact thing. Power right the first play, and power left on that last one.
Pasquale leading the team in tackles coming into today with 84. Again, they will continue on the ground, and Simpkins knocked down, maybe one at most, and again, another critical 3rd down here.
That's a tremendous play by Devin Carr off the edge there. Put this one in the 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 situation. This one isn't ideal. Last two were a little bit more manageable.
They're going to have to get a little bit more pressure on Halter. They have a fine secondary, but they have had little pressure. Again, Halter looks to set up the screen, finds his man underneath, across the 30, 20-yard line, and finally cut down. Again, you could just see the play develop from up here. Nicholas Bard, who is a huge weapon for this Pennsville team, coming up with another first down.
Really, really nice patience there by Halter. Selling screen, making it look like it's just straight drop back pass. Really nice job, and a great job leaking out by Bard.
Pennsville showing quite a mix here on this opening drive. Halter keeps. And a penalty flag here. Halter maybe 3 yards. This will give Clayton an opportunity to catch their breath. Conditioning becomes a factor when you're playing a no-huddle defense.
It does,
offense.
And especially when you're in this type of game. You have all this energy going. You have all this excitement. The coach just gave you the win one for the Gipper speech, win one for the town, win one for the community. So you're wasting a little bit of energy there in your pregame, and then all of a sudden you're staring down the barrel here of a nice 5-minute drive to start the game. So yes, no doubt, conditioning could come into play here, especially early here.
So we'll go down to the field to get the indication, and this is really going to back up Pennsville. Looks like a chop block, and they'll spot it at the 31-yard line.
Moves the ball back to the 31-yard line.
Now you're behind the sticks here. That's one of those 1st and 25 now. You don't have a whole lot in your playbook for that. You just got to chunk it away here. You also got to keep in mind, Pennsville's got a real good kicker, so they don't need a whole lot of, they don't need to gain a whole lot here to get themselves a field goal opportunity.
A little personnel mix-up. They'll run in the play and get things situated. Brennan Rico talking to Halter. It's Rico. Looks like it's going to be a halfback pass. Rico launches. He has a man. Caught. Touchdown. Rico connects with Logan Johnston. And Pennsville strikes first.
Really, really nice play there. That's gutsy. That's gutsy in a game like this. You go pulling out your first trick play with 6:36 left in the first quarter. I did a nice job trying to sell that. Johnson ran a great route, creating some separation just beyond number 9, Michael Gibson. And that was a really, really well thrown ball. That was very well developed play there.
Well, Pennsville will look to add. And low snap, kick is up, and the kick is good. Logan Johnson on the reception. He's the fastest kid on the team, probably their biggest target. You know, this is his first year playing football. A soccer kid who has found his way on the football field. A great story, and let's take a look, Frank.
Right there tonight, and then actually 11 tries to make a little block there, but Rico does a really good job trying to sell it. And then great body position there, just trying to create a little bit of space. And it's not awful coverage. No, he's right there to try to make a play. And hey, good for Johnson getting that Pennsville on the board early.
Well, they talk about football being a game of inches. That throw a couple inches shorter, maybe an interception. Instead, Pennsville goes out on top. Frank, we talked about in the open that Clayton probably needs to score first. We'll see how that plays out. Pennsville, playing from behind the last two games, they're going to feel very comfortable now.
They are. That must have been something they had in their playbook somewhere along the line. That's it's Rico's second pass of the year. He's 2 for 2 now. Retire. You're in the Hall of Fame, my friend. Good for him. But they have to answer. There's no doubt about it. That was a long drive to start the game. You know, you got to come back here. I think it's not necessarily critical to. You have to put points on the board, but going 3 and out here could be a bad thing here.
Absolutely. You know, speaking with head coach Marvin Tucker, he said, you know, we feed on the momentum, and scoring first really would be huge for us. Kick taken back at the 9-yard line. Plenty of room here across the 20, cuts it back, and now looking to go outside. Not a whole lot there. They'll start almost exactly where Pennsville started at the 26-yard line. A nice little return by Quenzel Hanna, and it is first down and 10. May have been Devin Carr. It is Pennsville who is in the gold and royal jerseys. The Clippers of Clayton in their gold pants, white tops enveloped in navy. First down and 10 for Clayton, a team that likes to keep the ball on the ground. They will feature Tyreek Jackson. First down, and absolutely nothing doing there.
That was a little inside drop right there to number 31, Brooks. Not a whole lot going there. Traditional wing T set there. I know Coach Tucker said they like to show multiple sets and show a lot of variety in their offense.
You know, he feels that Jackson kind of has to have a big day in order for them to be successful. And, you know, Jackson has been a weapon throughout the year. They'll need that weapon today. Trailing 7-0, second down and 11. Again, inside handoff, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. Pennsville, you can see, really getting a boost from that first series.
No doubt about it. And, you know, Coach Wood talking about the 3-4 scheme. You're just going to have guys, again, keep our eyes on 55, Simpkins, rallying himself to getting his boys to the ball. And you just look at number 81 out there, you know, Rob Sullivan. He's a big kid. He's a physically imposing kid. So got to take a peek. If they're not going to flip-flop ends, you know, Clayton might become very left-handed in this team during the game.
Quenzel Hanna, 44 pass completion percentage during the year. They will throw the ball periodically. And obviously here in a throwing down, third down and 9. And we have movement. Little mix-up here. It almost looked like the CFL out there.
If we were there, we were in good shape. You know, again, that's nerves. It's also, you know, your first 2 plays, you gain nothing, and now you're in a 3rd and 10 situation. You're backed up in your own end, and they, you know, I think the coaches, everybody kind of knows how critical this drive is, but just got to make sure here you take care of the football. You know, a turnover down deep here would be, you know, could be costly, you know, as we go through this game.
So do you play conservative here, or do you try to get the first down despite it being a 14-yard first down?
Coach, I think we go a little conservative here.
The pitch, a little misdirection. They're going to go halfback pass. Throws into double coverage, and it is caught across midfield. What a fine catch by Elijah Rem.
Just the guy we talked about at the top of the show, you know, the broadcast. This guy made a huge catch there, going over 2 Pennsville defenders. Hey, guess one runs a stretch pass, the other one runs a toss pass.
Well, we talked about the athleticism here, and it's kind of ironic. Whatever you can do, I can do better.
I give credit to Michael Gibson. He threw that thing on the run, got that thing out there about 30 yards, and throws it, drops it in a bucket. Perfect, great catch, great play. Here you go, Clayton's in business.
You had an Eagle sandwich, and Rem still able to catch it, bouncing off one tackle. And again, you just sense the palpable difference, just the confidence boost from that one play.
You have to, you were just backed up. You're worrying about, do we punt? Hey, so much for being conservative, huh? Shows you what I know. Maybe that's why we're standing up there. I think
you're doing okay.
I'm standing next to you, right now this year. But, you got a little more. Now all of a sudden, look, you're 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. You're on the Pennsville side of the field. You're sitting in your wishbone, and you're going to try to pound it a little bit.
Full house backfield, 2nd down. And a little dance, a little delay into the secondary, driving forward inside of the 25-yard line. Big pickup by Tyreek Jackson.
Wow. Coach did a nice job setting that up because he ran 2 traps prior, earlier with Brooks. And it looked kind of the same exact thing. And you see right there, it's a great cutback, great vision by Jackson to get up in there, kind of puncture the Pennsville defense, and just that's a great game. But again, good job setting that play up.
You have to love the patience there of Tyreek Jackson, kind of a Le'Veon Bell-like, just reading it, finding a hole, waiting, biding my time, and then exploding through.
Yeah, look at this set. 2 tights, 3 backs, and an eye.
Single file line. Looks like they're ready for a fire drill. Tyreek Jackson inside the 20-yard line. I don't recall ever seeing a set like that.
A lot of times,
except right before lunch.
That's it. With your straight hand. You know what, Coach? It's one of those things. You're just trying to gain a +1 factor. Now you're balanced. When you're in that double tight and everybody's straight ahead, you're balanced. You're not declaring any strength, but you can kind of tip that hand and make it your run strength. Just on the snap of the ball. So they saw something on tape. Hey, you never know what they're thinking here.
Clock continues to move. 2:45 left in this first quarter. And Clayton again. Jackson, can he beat a man? He does outside. Forearm shiver and inside the 10-yard line. They mark him outside the 10-yard line. But again, Action Jackson is his name.
That's a phenomenal cutback. It looked like there was a little confusion there on the Clayton offensive unit there, but hey, ends up becoming a huge game for him.
Well, already you have to be impressed with the running ability of one Tyreek Jackson.
Oh, no doubt. Great vision, great patience. The refs might be talking here a little bit. I don't know if they had enough men on the line of scrimmage. I really don't, unless they have a guy injured down. I don't know what the conversation is. Looked like they went 3 backs in the backfield, a tight end. And I don't know if there was somebody on the back end of it.
It looks like we also have a player down there. So it looks like the referees are going to allow that play to stand. And down on the field, it looks like it's a Clayton Clipper, and it may be Skylar McDonald. So, in speaking with head coach Marvin Tucker before the game, obviously you're nervous. First time your team's been in the state championship, but it was funny because we were talking, I'm asking him about Elijah Rem. He goes, wait a second. Guns N' Roses is on. I like the song. So, he's someone who, I told him, I said, listen, enjoy the moment, have fun. And you could see he's having fun. And just from that one set, and these guys throwing halfback passes, it's like me and you lining up in the backyard and let's just go after one another.
They are both playing loose. And again, that's who you want to be in these games. You don't want to be an imposter. You kind of think about when we were fortunate enough to make our first final in 2009. I think we made too much of it. Instead of it being week 12, I went back to my youth field and I went back to my high school field before the night before the game, and you're sitting there going, wow, are we ever going to get to this moment again? And we always made that vow to ourselves, hey, if we ever got here, we're going to enjoy every second if we were ever blessed to be in another final.
That's the thing is, as a coach, you're never quite sure how much is too much, how much loose is too loose, right. How much tight is too tight.
Whatever you are, be it. If you're tight before a game week 1, be tight week 12.
Absolutely.
If you're loose, be loose. And look at this crowd that we have here today. These kids have probably never played in front of something like this.
Well, listen, Clayton, population 8,216. I guarantee you they have over 20% of their hometown here. They probably have as much as 30%.
No doubt.
1st and 10, the handoff. And this time, maybe 2 or 3 yards. Clayton, sometimes it's funny because an injury can kind of change your momentum as well.
It does, and also when you lose, again, whether it's for a snap or whether it's 2 snaps, a guy like Skylar McDonald, who's an anchor there on their offensive line, it just takes that next guy another second, to get himself ready. I think we have a jersey change happening out over on the sidelines now as well.
So Devin Carr runs over to the sideline. So why would they change his jersey? Is it a blood issue?
It could be a blood. It could be position eligibility. Maybe he just went from a tackle to a tight end to an eligible thing.
You only get changed in phone booths, isn't that correct?
That's it.
Second down, Jackson cuts it inside, slips through, and he stopped, but he have a penalty flag here. This looks like it's coming back.
There is a penalty marker on the play.
Got to see what they call, whether it be a hold in there, possible face mask.
It's going to be a hold against Clayton. Take a look at our officials today. Again, an absolutely beautiful day. Let's take a look, Frank.
See if we can find it. It clearly didn't happen at the point of attack. It was a little off away from the ball. And obviously, they're not going to give us a number on the replay. We weren't able to identify it.
Well, one of the things Coach Tucker said, I asked him keys to the game. He said, we cannot have penalties. Can't afford penalties. And, Frank, it's magnified when you're a running football team.
No doubt. Again, getting behind the sticks, winning first down is critical. And next thing you know, you were just on the 4-yard line getting ready to punch this thing in. Now all of a sudden you're back at the 16, 17-yard line. But here you go,
Back to pass, flushed out of the pocket, escapes across the 25. He's going to keep. He's now down to the 15, and maybe forward progress will take him to the 16. Quenzel Hanna looked like he had an opportunity to break it, but Pennsville's defense quickly closed.
Oh, they swarmed. You had the combination there of Dunton, Simpkins, and then also we had Sherman there. You're talking, they did a nice job rallying this. Quenzel, he's a very athletic kid, obviously. I think Coach Wood described him as Randall Cunningham playing quarterback. And he definitely looks the part.
We talked before about special teams. Elijah Rem is the kicker of this Clayton team. At this point, they're at the 17-yard line. They're still not in field goal position.
No.
And at a Group 1 school, kicking sometimes is the difference.
It could be at any level, no doubt. So here you go. This is a big play. It's a very big play here.
Hanna pitches, has Jackson. Jackson will string it out. Beats the first man, cuts it inside, and he'll get back to the original line of scrimmage at most. So now a decision here at the 11.
It's going to be 4th and 11.
Do they kick a field goal with Rem? He is about at his length, his range, and they'll have an opportunity to talk about it because we're going to head to break. We're through 1 quarter of play in the Group 1 championship game. Pennsville leads by 7. Welcome back to Glassboro. We start the second quarter. We mentioned that right on the periphery of the range of Elijah Rem. So
Wildcat.
4th down, and they're going to go for it. Throw underneath and just too high. Looking as you had a new quarterback in there, and the pass falls incomplete. So turned over on downs. Clayton kind of switching things up. It was William Morales or Michael Gibson.
Michael
number
Gibson
9.
there, and they actually lined up Hanna in the slot there. I guess they maybe saw a mismatch on film, but it was also the first time they got out of double tight. They got out of their bone stuff. Again, it was 4th and long. They kind of had to do that.
Kind of interesting because according to our stats, Gibson had only thrown 2 passes all year. So you don't know whether Hanna was hurt or whether they just feel more confident in him. Handoff. Breaking 1 tackle, but still not a whole lot there. And Clayton's going to have to come up with a big defensive stop here. Rico stopped after a gain of 1.
Real good job just getting back to the original line of scrimmage. Yeah, gain of 1 there. The Squally was right there. He diagnosed that thing. He just had to break his feet down and make the play.
Again, Halter, still your quarterback. Wiedmeyer on the bench. 2nd down. And back to drop with time. Has a man wide open, thrown underneath, and falls incomplete.
That's a great job attacking. Again, being in this middle huddle, you can identify what they're in. There was nobody in the middle of the field. Clearly, Clayton was selling out on the run there. They put 8 men, 9 men in the box and manned up on the outside. There was nobody defending that post except that Al sitting on the 50-yard line.
So good play defensively, just kind of playing center field, able to deny the big reception, and a long third down now. Clayton struggled on third down on the opening drive.
They're bringing pressure here, Rob.
Halter. They'll drop into coverage. Halter has his man. It's caught across the middle. Halter hooking up and finding Jeremy Boucher.
And again, that's that post-dig combination with nobody in the middle of the center of the field there, and it just becomes an easy pitch and catch there. You got crossing routes going. If you look, he does a great job looking off, trying to get someone to get buzzed at a flat, and there you go. You just have a nice, huge window right there for arguably, Pennsville's best receiver. Statistically, it was throughout the season, in Boucher, who has, over 500 yards receiving.
Coach Wood loved him as a receiver, talks about what great hands he has. We saw that right there. Again, another pick up here, and it's starting to take the complexion of the earlier drive. It looks like you have him stop the big play, and then the momentum starts to push him.
No doubt. That's just very good, patient running there. Simpkins allowing both his guards to get in front of him. It was a little sweep action, just very patient. And there's Rem again, making a play.
2nd down and 5, and again, keep your eyes on Jeremy Boucher. We may see more of him. He's at the bottom of your screen. 2nd and 5. Halter again working out of the shotgun. Hands it off, and pickup of maybe 3 or 4. Nicholas Bard, who is again just one of the many weapons that Pennsville boasts.
Putting them in a very, very manageable 3rd and 1. And right now today, Pennsville's 4 for 4 on 3rd downs.
Halter. Bard powers up the middle for a 4, 1st down Pennsville, and they're knocking on the door of Clayton territory once again.
McDonald and Rem on the tackle.
So Kyle McDonald and Elijah Rem combine on the tackle. Good sign. McDonald was shaken up earlier. He's back in the game. Halter again, quick drop. Looks down and out, throws it underneath, it's caught and taken down at the 16. We talked about the great hands of Boucher, and there you see it once again.
That's a great throw, great body control, because again, that wasn't bad coverage. We had Wilson right there on him. He's doing a real nice job looking one side and coming back, whether that's his design, what he's coached to do. Great poise in there, way to drop it in the bucket.
Well, again, with this spread offense, you're forced to kind of play man-to-man, and when you have an athlete like you do in Jeremy Boucher, that just creates headaches for you. So Pennsville will regroup. One of the stories all year long for this Pennsville team is the unfortunate Kyle Pizzeni, who was hit by a car prior to the season, and the team has rallied around him throughout the year. They brought his number 7 jersey out to take the toss. Coach Wood told me before the game that this Monday was the first time the entire team had an opportunity to see Kyle, and there you see Simpkins bringing back the jersey. So they actually hosted a dinner on Monday at Kyle's house. First time all of his teammates got to see him. I said, how much does that mean to this team? He said, he means everything to this team.
You preach it all the time that you have to be a football family. You're together with your football brothers more than you are with your own siblings and your own parents. And when someone goes down, it hurts. It doesn't. Credit to Coach Wood and the staff and the kids and the community of keeping this together. And there's no better way to end it for them, and delivering them a championship ring.
Well, Clayton's going to have to stop the bleeding here. Bard with the football, has some room outside. Bard angles toward the end zone. Touchdown. 17-yard scamper. Nick Bard, Pennsville on top, 13-0.
That's great job on the edge there. It was very big. Same play we're talking about a little earlier about on that sweep with the 2 guards getting out in front. Bard you'll see it right here, 55 does a really nice job. 12 does a nice job just shielding him off, actually lays him out. That's a great job, very patient. You also sometimes you got to be careful defending inside out.
Well, Logan Johnston will attempt the extra point And the snap is up and good is the kick. Now, you mentioned on that play, first person you mentioned in terms of blocking, you said 55. Ryan Simpkins, who we talked about in the open, not a big kid, but you can't measure hard.
You can't. And clearly he has, when you're 5'8", 185, you better be fundamentally sound with your technique. And clearly you're just watching pull steps, you're watching him have a great concept. That's, tremendous coaching that he has, but, ultimately it's his heart. This is a 5'8", 185-pound starting two-way player on a team that, again, is going for their first crown since '81 and the first championship in football in Pennsville since maybe 1982, right, when Coach Wood played on those Pennsville Cubs, and so who knows, but you just watch him and you watched his partner there, Sherman, lead the way and pave the way for Barr to go 17 yards untouched.
Let's talk a little bit about this state championship game. Group 1, the state of New Jersey does not have a true state champion. You have now 5 groups, which I'm not a big fan of, as opposed to 4. And there's 4 so-called state champions, and then there's 4 parochial champions. You have 24 teams at the end of the year that can hoist a trophy. For me, that doesn't sound like a state championship.
No, they're sectional titles, and you could probably have 15 coaches up here, and the vote's going to be split. And sometimes it circles back to the Tournament of Champions. Coach K doesn't like the March Madness tournament. I guess you could say that when you got 7 national titles, but whatever it may be. But it makes for great conversation.
Kick taken at the 17-yard line and stopped at about the 33. Big hit laid out. And Clayton's going to have to regroup, and he may be shaken up on the play. Let's take a look. Again, this is a Group 1 school, Clayton. They dress about 38 players. Depth is typically not a strong point for any Group 1 school. So when you miss a key athlete, it's going to hurt.
No doubt. And you clearly see momentum right now is with Pennsville after an 8-play, 87-yard drive. And then you watch them attack that kickoff. Again, you don't like to see anybody shaken up, especially in this environment. So that's awesome that Devin Carr has been able to get up and maybe get a little breather, get a little drink of water, and get right back at it.
Well, you have a car in a collision. It's time to get over to the body shop and get them back in. And I'm sure they will do that. So first down and 10.
First and 10 from the 34-yard line.
And
this drive's critical.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, it just took a lot out of them by that one penalty. And that's something Coach Tucker talked about initially. So not much doing there.
Did someone strip that thing out?
Tyreek Jackson, the ball carrier for the Clippers.
Tyreek Jackson, seems like he's a little bit more successful when he's a little more patient.
Patient, but you also ran that one at 81.
Yeah.
81's a dude. Listen, if I'm looking at, and you're trying to attack somebody, I'm probably not attacking a 6'6", 230-pound kid.
You look out there, you see a lot of eagles, and then you see one eagle right out there. That's an eagle.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is yet another different set here that Clayton's throwing at Pennsville.
Hannah hands off. And again, it's Simpkins.
There's our guy.
Johnny on the spot.
Yep, no doubt. Him and Dutton, 56, they're getting off to a great start here early in the second quarter. They're flying around the football, and maybe you talk about them playing early in the season, that being familiar a little bit with the opponent. You're able to see some things maybe on tape, validated through the year. Those 2 kids are dialed in right now defensively.
Corey Carr on the carry. And again, it's Hannah at quarterback. Their only completion at this point was not from the quarterback.
No. It was that little toss pass on 3rd and long. See what they come up with now here. Again, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 12. This isn't a place you want to live in.
Tyreek Jackson in the backfield, and again, another penalty here. Clayton is struggling.
And it's kind of disheartening. You had the ball, remember, on the 4-yard line. You come away with nothing. You then make a high school team drive 90 yards, so to speak, and they did.
Delay a game there, Frank. How difficult is it in high school when you don't have a play clock to look at?
You have to make sure your cue is trained. He's got to find that official. In this game, it's a 6-man crew. The guy's wearing a red band. He should be the deepest guy on the home sidelines. So you have to make sure your quarterback, and you have to address it with the quarterback pregame. Hey, remember where we are. We have a 5-man crew. We have a 6-man crew. A play clock would be nice.
So now a long third down for Clayton. Hannah, again, another penalty, and Clayton is just getting clipped.
Yeah, that's going to be illegal motion. The wideout was kind of trying to find out, jostle, am I on the ball, am I off the ball? And sometimes that's one of the hard things in a game, of getting used to how the linesman is going to help you. Am I on? Am I off? To align correctly. It's now you're in a third and 22 maybe. After they march his penalty back.
All right, since you were so spot on the last time I asked you this question, 3rd down and 24. Do you play conservative?
Quick kick. I don't know. That's where I'm going. Shotgun to let them kick it now. There's no one back deep. No, this is what they're 3-by-1. It looks like they're going to try to attack.
Maybe a
screen down.
Some razzle dazzle here. Hannah back to pass, rolls to his right, throws across the middle, and that falls incomplete. You can see that Hannah has a good arm, but again, just not able to connect with his wide receiver. And Donovan Allen was the intended man.
They ran a big little post and then a wheel route down the sidelines. Your best matchup was probably to the near sidelines here, to the Pennsville bench, where you had your back one-on-one with a backer trying to run with them. This is big. This punt right here.
Elijah Rem, he is your punter. High snap. Rem, good punt. It'll bounce about midfield and take a Clippers roll. We're playing on turf today, so you'll get a little bit more. It'll be stopped at about the 39-yard line.
Around the 38-yard line will be 1st and 10.
So at this point, we have not seen, that was our first punt, we have not seen Pennsville punt 2 drives. Frank, is it a little bit more disheartening as a coach that not only have they scored twice, but they've been so successful on 3rd down?
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's critical downs. You have to get off the field there. Pennsville's converted 3rd and short, and they've also converted 3rd and longs too. Same set here. Look for power here early.
1st and 10, Halter again working out of the shotgun, hands it off. Rico breaks the tackle, and he'll be cut down. But good second effort by Rico.
And once again, there's Rem coming in, shooting a gap and trying to create some penetration there.
2nd down and 10. You think about Clayton's mostly two-way players. They don't even get a chance to break because of this no-huddle offense. It's going to take a lot out of them. This is going to be a big series here for the Clippers. Halter, quick drop, gets pressure. He's slung down. First sack of the day, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yep. Donovan Allen right there. Donnie Allen, I think that is what their staff calls him, but that's a huge, huge play. Now, here we go again. It's 3rd down. Now it's 3rd and real long. Clayton needs to make a play here. They need to make a play here. Get off the field, get their offense the ball back in some decent field position.
Allen showing off some great speed there and able to tackle Halter deep in his own end. Long 3rd down now, about 3rd and 19. Halter, they'll just hand it off and it's going to be barred. And we talk about being conservative. That's playing with a lead right there.
No doubt. You know what the momentum of the game is there. You sit there and you punt the ball. You play good D. Great. I think that's a real good call by Coach Wood. And yet now maybe Clayton's got a little bit of life here. Watch out here. Remember last week, Rem blocked the punt against Glassboro that provided that initial spark.
Well, Rem is at the bottom of your screen. You're taking a look at Tyreek Jackson. So those are the 2 guys to keep an eye on. Rem, as you mentioned, blocked a punt last week and then returned it all the way in for a touchdown. Almost blocked. It was Carr, and now Tyreek Jackson lets it bounce. It'll find its way out of bounds, but Carr almost got his hood on it.
He did. Talk about the game of inches. He almost blocks that. It's going to be a scoop and score, yet now becomes a 40-yard punt, ball on the 25-yard line, and now you got to go 75.
Another instance of a game of inches there.
You look at that right there. Honestly, you don't know really how he gets that thing off. Maybe extends his hands out a little bit rather than putting them straight up in the air. Maybe he's able to get that. When you're going for that block punt, you want to make sure you're going about 1.5 yards, 2 yards in front of the punter again to avoid that personal foul, which you couldn't take there either. But hey, here you go now. Clayton's got a chance here.
5:38 remaining in this first half. Clayton trails 14-0. Hannah drops back the pass. He'll set up the screen. It's bobbled. Whoa. That would have been trouble. Almost picked up by Pennsville's P.J. Halter, the quarterback. And again, right now, Clayton just kind of needs a break.
They do. P.J. did a real good job sniffing that out and diagnosing it. Almost come up with a big turnover.
It's always dangerous as a receiver when you have that ball and you're trying to pick it up, that second and third effort. But once you tip it up, then all of a sudden you have a bunch of defenders around. It could get ugly quickly.
Look who's at that ball. You got Simpkins, you got Dunton, and then you also had Sherman. 3 guys, man, that are just flying around today on D.
Second down, and Donovan Allen now in the backfield for Hannah. Again, full house backfield. Play action pass. Hannah throws it up and looks in and out of the hands of Elijah Rem.
That's a well thrown ball. That's the only place he could have thrown it. So again, game of inches. That thing just went through Rem's finger, through his hands.
Well, it's tough getting a ticket here. You got to do whatever you can.
Man, what if he gets a camera on that thing? Can you imagine?
That gives you a sense of what a beautiful day we have here as well. Not a cloud in the sky.
As a coach, what camera would be awesome? Get that film, right?
Third down and 10. That's a ball that Rem typically comes down with. A fine throw by Hannah. Rem will now come around, and Hannah again back to pass. He dumps for the screen, in and out of the hands of Jackson. And again, as I mentioned, Clayton just kind of looking for a break.
Now that was well set up. He's, whether he's one block away from possibly getting a first down there.
Maybe the end zone.
Who knows? But now all of a sudden you just look at what just happened on those three plays, right? All of a sudden now they're pound. Well, they're 3 passes, 3 incomplete passes. Probably gave the ball back 30 seconds after they got it. They kick it right back. So circle back to Coach Wood's decision. Great job punting the football and setting yourself up.
All 3 of those passes, on another day, maybe they're all caught. They fake the punt. Rem now finally gets it away. He punts it over their heads. The ball bounces, and it's going to be a good one, picked up for no particular reason at the 32-yard line. Let that ball roll a little bit more.
Let it roll, no doubt, but wow. We forgot to mention that he rugby punts. He looks like he's going to run it and fake it and then drop anchor and kick it about a 35, 40-yard punt. Man, he's having himself a good first half. Probably wants that last little corner route back, but hey, a lot of game left to play here.
You mentioned a lot of game left because it was 3 incompletions, very little time taken off the clock, 5-11. And again, if you're Clayton, you kind of need a 3 and out here.
You do, absolutely.
Again, P.J. Halter working out of the shotgun. Halter hands it off to Bard. Bard with a hole, but he cannot find it. Another fine play by Donovan Allen.
Again, that's that same exact play that they scored on earlier. They just had a little spill on the back, leakage on the backside, which they didn't have on the touchdown. Really nice job by Allen to make a play there. And again, now you're behind the sticks here. See if Clayton can capitalize on that and build off this.
Keep your eyes on Boucher here. They like to throw out of second down. They've lost 3 here. Boucher at the bottom of your screen. Halter out of the shotgun. Has Boucher in and out of his hands.
You were right on in Coach Wood's playbook there, and Boucher took a shot there in the ribs too, But again, you're going to attack that middle of the field. They're not playing with any high safeties here at all because they're just dedicating all their attention to the run. But oof, that's a ball just behind Boucher.
We'll see if they play conservative here again. 14-point lead. Turnovers might be the only thing that'll allow Clayton to come back here. P.J. Halter. Quick drop, looks for Boucher once again. It's a down and out, and it's thrown. No, he looked for Johnson instead. Again, just outside of the outstretched arms of the Clayton defense, and that'll bring up 4th down. He actually faked me out.
See, that's everything's what they're trying to do, I guess, conceptually. They've been pumping swing screens and going over top of it. They've been looking one way, coming back down as they went on the out and up. They hit Boucher earlier in the game. Trying to do variations of double move, but also getting quarterback's eyes moving, which is a really, really good concept.
So Michael Gibson unable to come up with the interception. P.J. Halter is the punter. He'll punt it away to Tyreek Jackson. Punt, it's a spiral. And Jackson takes it to 32 and finds his way out at about the 37. He was looking in the sun there as well, so that's not an easy play.
Great job just possessing the football. The last thing you need there is that thing to bounce and roll. We always tell our guys it's a 15-yard swing. And that thing's going to bounce, it's going to roll. Now you have pretty decent field position to start a drive. You're at the 39-yard line. But let's circle back again. Pennsville now, they were 5 for 5 at one point in third downs, 0 for their last 2.
Clayton, always dangerous on special teams. 3 kickoffs and punts returned for touchdowns this year. So Pennsville's special teams play has held them in check. Clayton with 4 minutes and 22 seconds remaining. What a beautiful day for football and a tremendous turnout. We mentioned Clayton, a small town boasting only 8,200 people. Pennsville, just over 13,000 people, and a large chunk of each town is here. And a direct snap, it's Gibson. Gibson will throw, has his man, it's Rem. Rem comes down with it, and is it intercepted? That's the question. No, it is Pennsville who intercepts the football. It looked like it was in Rem's hands and just taken right out by Pennsville's number 12 and Josh Van Blarcom.
And you take a look here again, it's a little bit of a wildcat deal. Gibson's the quarterback. They put Hannett just to his left, little rollout. They tried to get him, get him deep, and it was very similar to an earlier play where Rem went up and just out-jumped the kid. At this time, Van Blarcom was able to get under it, and it was one of those almost joint possessions. But
it looked like Van Blarcom actually ripped it out of his hands. You got to give him a lot of credit there. Is Clayton being a little bit too impatient?
Possibly, possibly. But again, you're down 14, and you're looking for a spark.
Halter again out of the shotgun, quick drop. A lot of time. Halter across the middle. It's Boucher across midfield. And again, you see when Halter has time, there's just so many opportunities for him, particularly with Boucher, his big target.
No doubt. He, again, ran a great route across the field. And let's credit that offensive line. He had plenty of time to deal it and go through his progression.
So now the clock running inside of 4 minutes remaining. Clayton has a personnel mix-up. They're not sure how many guys they have and who's on the field. Cut back inside. Pennsville, it's Halter who keeps, and Halter falls forward. It looks like he'll have enough for the first down, and that may have been a situation where you wanted a timeout. There is a penalty flag. I'm going to think it's too many men on the field for Clayton or an illegal substitution. That's my guess.
It definitely could be too many men. And then in the back end, because you saw Jackson come buzzing off the edge there. If it was one of those, hey, do I just pull this thing instead of creating a mess there at the mesh point, or if it was an actual designed quarterback run to the right. But if it's illegal, if it's something like 12 men on the line, it's 12 men on the field for them, Pennsville will decline that thing and accept the play.
So it is against Clayton. Coach Wood will get some clarity here.
Legal participation. There you go. And at that point, you just...
Again, penalties. That one didn't hurt as much because they're going to decline.
Well, you know what? That gets tacked on.
Oof.
That gets tacked on.
Okay.
It's a 5-yard. Yeah. Because the snap actually took place.
So Pennsville continuing to march. Ball spotted at the 30-yard line with 3:45 remaining and counting. Halter. They'll hand it off, and Simpkins will pick up about 3. Pennsville's in great shape here because they can continue to milk the clock. Even if they don't score here, at the very least, they can create a situation where Clayton will likely not have an opportunity to come back and score, but they're knocking on the door once again, and P.J. Halter, when he's not getting any rush from that defensive line of Clayton, he is certainly in control, which has been the case throughout this afternoon. Halter again with a lot of time. Halter across the middle. Boucher across the 10. Touchdown!
That's a tremendous. Again, they're just really hurting him on that post-dig combo, bringing Boucher across the field. It's a good man beater, and Clayton's playing a lot of man coverage, dedicating themselves a lot. I feel like I sound like I'm a broken record here, but again, they're dedicating so many bodies to stopping the run, and they're daring kind of Pennsville to throw against them, and that one kind of hurt, because now it's a 3-score game and it's right before the half, and they got a chance to make this thing a 21-point lead.
Well, Johnston will come out to attempt the point after and add on to this lead. The kick is up and the kick is good. A 4-play, 66-yard drive capped by a 27-yard P.J. Halter to Jeremy Boucher touchdown pass. And, you know, just as I mentioned, you give Halter all that time, it's really tough to stay with Boucher for that long.
It is. He runs, he's really good routes. He catches, his hand positioning is great when he's trying to catch things. One of the things I was impressed with that double move down the sidelines here earlier in the second quarter was this, he understands route running, and he understands how to allow himself space, you know, where allow a quarterback to throw that deep ball between the number and the sidelines so he can make that adjustment in the quarterback and throw him open. But again, and also Halter, you know, he is in control of this offense, you know, and now all of a sudden you're going to look, and here you go, talk about the Group 1, Group 2 school. Right, there he is. He's out there on the kickoff team. Let's go down. No job, too big or small.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, he's 8 of 11 today, 144 yards. Again, they've had 3 different players score touchdowns, and there you see the Clayton crowd. This is a crowd that has waited literally their whole lives to see this happen, you know, and they just want to have something to root for.
They do, you know, but regardless of what happens, you know, Clayton's last playoff win was in 1991 when they beat Gloucester 36-7. So they have a ton to be proud of, and you know, it's great to see their community getting behind their Clipper football team.
And they would like nothing better than at least put some points prior to halftime. Rem on the reception. He's across the 20-yard line. Rem looks and finds a seam. Rem cuts it back, stays on his feet, shows good balance, falls forward at the 35-yard line. And now we have a player shaken up on the field. It looks to be a Pennsville Eagle. Clayton will have an opportunity to talk about what they want to do offensively here. Again, this is a team that typically favors the run. They haven't had much success via the air, but in all fairness, Hannah, it's not that he's been wholly inaccurate. He's had 3 passes that have been dropped and 1 that was ripped out of somebody else's hands.
No, you know, they're just, we talked about it. It's a game of inches, and you know, it's who's making a play, who's not. Right now, Pennsville's made a couple more plays. Rem made one earlier to completely change field position, change swing, and then you have that 50-50 ball. When you're throwing fade balls into coverage, or you're trying to drop a corner route, you know, when you're sandwiched with an under and an over coverage, it becomes a 50-50 ball. So, you know, you just hope Clayton's able to get a break, you know, put something together here before the half, and give those fans something to cheer about or feel good about going in the half.
So Clayton starts at the 35-yard line. They have 2 minutes and 53 seconds, certainly more than enough time to make things happen here. Hannah working out of the shotgun, and again, direct snap goes to Gibson. Gibson cuts it back. Now Gibson throws it up. Has his man. It's Allen, in and out of the hands of Allen. You know, I think Allen thought Rico was going to knock it down and didn't anticipate that ball coming to him.
No, you know, and the more you're looking at this, it's becoming a little bit like single-wing football back here. It's like the only thing we're missing is the spinner series. You know, you got Gibson and you got Hannah kind of lined up next to each other. He releases to a flat route, and now they try to bring 24, right? They try to wheel him back down. He just got himself turned around. Do I look out? Do I look in? And then by that time, when he was trying to make the adjustment, his feet got tangled up, but the play was there.
I think you said it all before, Frank. Right now, it's just a question of making plays. And right now, Clayton's just not doing it. Hannah throws across the middle, has his man, and it's caught. So Hannah, a fine pass, and that breaches midfield, hooking up, and Clayton will look to continue to move the football as it's Gibson on the reception.
That was a Rico delivered a blow there from a safety's position. You got to love to see that. You know, a kid who's playing coverage, but then is willing to plant his foot in the ground and come up and make a play.
So Gibson, jack of all trades, comes away with the reception. He's lined up at the bottom of their set. Hannah, as you take a look at him on the screen, working out of the shotgun. A lot of time being used here. And now a timeout, so some confusion here, and it just seems like they can't hit all cylinders today.
No, it's a shame because you just get a big play here. You're in Pennsville territory. You have a little bit gunners. You got 2 minutes left. You might need that timeout. You may need that timeout. That's big, but instead of making a mistake here, you got to make sure you're right.
It is tough. I mean, because as you mentioned, you can't afford a mistake here. But on the other hand, by calling the timeout, you allow Coach Wood to kind of settle his troops, because after a big play like that, obviously you're taking a blow to your confidence, and conversely, you are bolstering your own confidence. That has all been sucked away now.
And it's very similar to, remember, down here when Clayton had the ball on the 4-yard line, there was a penalty, gave kind of Pennsville a chance to kind of catch their breath. The next thing you knew, it was they were in a second and long, then it turned into third and long, and they came away with nothing. So who knows? Let's see what's going to go here, and what coach is thinking. Is he going to go back to the ground game and try to get Jackson and go? Because again, you don't need to sit here and throw it and throw it. If you have 49 yards to go with 2 minutes left in the half, so time really isn't a factor, especially in high school football, when you have the ability to utilize that first down. That's a built-in time of, basically a mini timeout with the clock stop.
One of the things that Coach Tucker talked about was just how mentally tough his team is. They're going to need that mental toughness, and their best chance of winning this football game is coming away with something before the half. Hannah out of the shotgun, throws underneath, and fine catch made. Wow, look at the athleticism of Elijah Rem. He looked like Gumby.
No doubt. That was a tremendous one-hand catch behind him, and if he can just lead him, he's got the whole sidelines. He's going to catch his thing and maybe take it for a big gainer. Good job in the pocket there, standing at the top of the throwing circle and delivering that strike. But it's a shame that ball was just behind him. That's a great catch.
Hannah again with time. Hannah now. He's across the 40 to the 33 and finally taken out of bounds. That shows you, again, another one of the weapons in his own arsenal.
No doubt, no doubt. He has tremendous versatility. He's a really good athlete. There's no doubt about it. And you kind of think you want the ball in his hands. And looking, again, trying to see what Coach Tucker's doing. He's not only trying to get at the quarterback spot, when he's putting him in as a slot receiver, when he's releasing him into pass routes, they're just trying to find ways to get number one the football. Clock is stopped. Clock is not an issue right now. The ball's on the 31-yard line, minute 34, first down. No issues at all right now with time.
Hannah, again, drops, throws, has his man into flat, in and out of the hands of Corey Carr, and right now they're just not getting it done.
They're not, but you know what, from a confidence standpoint, maybe you can sit here and take this drive and say, there's plays there. We've got to make a few of these now, though. So second down, regroup, second 11. Maybe they come back screen again earlier, what they did on the 1-3rd down. It was set up beautiful to screen to a Jackson. And again, they just didn't capitalize on. Maybe that's time to come back to something there, the screen now.
As a coach, that is just wholly frustrating. You feel like you have a game plan and all you have to do is execute it, but sometimes that's easier said than done. Hannah, again, on second down with Tyreek Jackson in the backfield. Hannah, draw play. Jackson cuts it back inside, spins, still on his feet, cut down 27-yard line, and Clayton will try to hurry it up a little bit here. They get the play from the sideline. Clock continues to move. There you see it, 1:15 remaining, 21-0 Pennsville. Clayton in dire need of a score here. Third down and about 5. Hannah will settle the offense with Tyreek Jackson in the backfield, a 4-receiver set. Hannah, quick drop, throws, has his man across the middle, it's caught! And taken down at the 10-yard line, Elijah Rem. Clock will stop as they move the chains.
Yeah, you're good here. Again, your ball is on the 10-yard line. You have 58 seconds left. Just from the cue standpoint, don't be greedy. Take what they give you here.
Quarterback draw would be good here. Hannah throws, has his man in double coverage. And again, a case where maybe they're trying to do a little bit too much. I would have loved to see a quarterback draw there.
No doubt. You can, because they're thinking pass, get the ball in number one's hands, but don't force things here. Again, you're going to have 3 shots to the end zone now. Make sure you use every single one of them if needed. Take what they give you. If they want to give you a check down for 3 yards, 4 yards, great. You don't need the touchdown with 51 seconds left.
You still have a timeout there, so you can run the football if you would like to.
Yep.
And again, if you are Hannah, with that athleticism, you don't have anything, go create.
Yep. Now Pennsville took a timeout, so maybe that's going to give Coach Tucker and staff some time to think about this and see what they want to do. That's great coverage. That's great coverage by Van Blarcom coming, and there was somebody underneath that as well. Again, don't try to force that slant.
That man right there, number 6, Elijah Rum, we talked about him in the open. I mean, how impressed are you?
This game's not too big for him. It really isn't. Like, he's a kid after the game. We got to find, win or lose, and pat that kid on the back because he's performing. He's performing on both sides of the ball. Special teams. He had about a 30-yard return on the last return here. So he's well deserving of that knee right now. But you know what? He's going to probably be a guy they're going to look to. One of these next couple plays down in the red zone here.
You go to war with a brigade of Elijah Rems, you can take any hill. There's no question about that. A guy that plays with a tremendous amount of heart, great athleticism, and no quit in him. And that's what we talked about. This team really has a lot of mental toughness. If they can come away with a touchdown, it really changes the complexion of this football game. Remember, they will start with the football in the second half. So Hannah here on second down and just 51 seconds left.
We had motion out there on number 24. Donnie Allen there, just a little too excited there.
Well, this is kind of Murphy's Law today for Clayton.
It is, and it's their second trip in the red zone. You have to leave with points here. You have to.
Again, I think what you mentioned before, too, is, hey, take what they give you. Don't try to force it in the end zone here. Even you back to 5, sometimes there's this impatience and it hurts you. Hannah, back to pass. Hannah dumps. It's a screen. Jackson across the 10. Jackson dives. Jackson taken down at about the 4-yard line.
Really good call there. And the thing is, Pennsville's playing coverage. They're only rushing 3 right now. So again, there's going to be some natural gaps and natural seams, and Jackson doesn't need a big one. He just needs a little seam and a little crease. Again, time's not a factor. 29 seconds, 2 plays, not a problem.
And again, we have a timeout here, and we'll see what the call is. Not quite sure. The referees will talk it over. We have a Pennsville player running to the sideline, and timeout called by the Eagles. No penalty flag.
Okay.
Timeout called by Pennsville.
So I think there's some discussion as to whether or not they had too many men. Maybe Ryan Wood gets the timeout in quickly. I don't know what happened exactly.
From a defensive standpoint, you cannot run out of the back of the end zone to exit the field. Okay. You got to come to your sidelines. There could have been some of that. Then it becomes, did he run out before the timeout? Clearly the officials are saying that there was a timeout before the foul happened.
Well, 21 seconds left, 21-0. Obviously a huge play in this football game. They don't make it here. They have an opportunity to do it on 4th down. Because there's 21 seconds and you're Clayton and you still have 1 timeout left, no. They called their timeout. So even if you run the football, then you have an opportunity to say, listen, if we don't make it, then we have this next play.
If you're going to try to run the football here, you better have 2 plays called in the huddle.
Correct.
There's no doubt. There's got to be this, then this.
You've done this before.
And you got to get off of piles. I don't think kids realize that. You got to get off, and you can't lay the ball on the ground. You got to physically hand it back to the official.
Okay.
Spot this ball, so we're not wasting any time. Because the last thing you want to do is go into the locker room right now with another down in your pocket and you run out of time.
What do you run here? A waggle?
Some kind of play action here. Get run pass option for number 1.
A penalty flag.
Penalty marker is thrown down at the line of scrimmage.
You can't win championships with so many dead ball fouls, but this time it's Pennsville.
Neutral zone.
Now, that's a dead ball foul because they lined up offsides?
Yes. Yeah.
If they encroach before in the midst of the snap, then the play goes on?
In the midst of the snap, it's got to be simultaneous because in high school they kind of blow it dead immediately.
How do you feel about that?
I kind of like having the option.
Sure.
It's kind of like the NFL. They got to relax. This clock's not going to run. This clock should not run. There should be 21 seconds on the clock.
And that's probably what they're talking about.
That play never happened. And they don't need to run this because that was after a timeout. Like Clayton right now is like trying to fly to the ball. No, you're good.
And they're waving them back because right now the officials are trying to illustrate to Ryan Wood how they encroached, how they were lined up off sides. It's kind of interesting because You saw that last week in the the Cleveland and Baltimore game. They were lined up off sides. The officials never called it.
No, because then that's the NFL rule. If you get yourself back before this,
But they were lined up off sides, just kind of like that. So,
21.
It's not a penalty unless they see it, right?
Correct. Oh, yeah, sure. All officials love me. I know that. We're all best friends. They're coming over for Christmas dinner, I'm sure. Yeah, but they're trying to get 21 seconds back on the clock. Exactly. That's where it was, at the time of the timeout. That play never happened. Here you go. You got 2 downs from a yard and a half away from the end zone. And this yard and a half could be the difference in this whole game.
Well, so in terms of your play calling, does that change things? Do you still run the waggle? Do you run it to Tyreek? Do you just, say quarterback draw here? What do you call it?
You have to go with what your best is. Again, all year. Here they are. They're going to go with their double tight, full house backfield.
Jackson in, touchdown! Tyreek Jackson spinning in the air. And just what the doctor ordered for the Clippers. You can hear the crowd going wild.
Everybody over on that side just exhaled a little bit because now all of a sudden we can score. We can now finish. We scored when we were in the red zone, providing that spark they needed right before half. That's a big play again. But at this time, what do? You put the ball in your playmaker's hands.
We talked about their kicking troubles. As a result, they're going to go for 2 here, try to make it a 21-8 game. Again, Hannah with Tyreek Jackson and 2 of his friends in the backfield, Carr and Gibson, going for the 2-point conversion. Handoff, and Jackson drives forward. Jackson very close, and they say no. Again, inches away.
Just short there. Again, if you try to you want to put points on the board. Again, if they know their kicking situation better than you and I do, we talked about it. What he said pregame, he had confidence in his kicker from about 32 yards in. Make that 21-7. Now you're going to be chasing the score for the rest of the game.
There's the touchdown, and you see the athleticism, the burst from Jackson. A good push by that Clayton offensive line.
That was tremendous push by the offensive line, especially number 70 there, Jameer Frazier. He's a big 6'3", 305-pound tackle who's only a junior, so he's back for this Clipper team. But, again, that's a great 10-play, 65-yard drive there, and, caps off with points. I think that's the most significant thing. And you also leave Pennsville very little time to do anything.
What's amazing about that drive is it almost seemed like they didn't want to score. They were their own worst enemy throughout the drive. And again, that speaks to what Coach Tucker talked about, a mental toughness, a desire. And if they can get things figured out at halftime, they certainly can still win this football game.
No doubt. And again, they just had that little lull in the middle there where they had a couple 3-and-outs. They put some stuff together. They were in the red zone. So if you're Coach Tucker at halftime, it's, hey, let's regroup. Let's go. If we're receiving an opening kickoff in the second half, let's go down and punch another one in. Jackson, 7 carries, 54 yards here in the first half. Got Rem making a bunch of plays both sides of the football. Hey, they're still a shot.
Do you squib here?
You want to make sure it's a deep squib. Again, yeah, absolutely you do. Make sure to take some time trying to pick it up. Where you kick it deep.
Angled towards the sideline. That's probably not what you want.
No, that's probably the only thing you didn't really want to happen.
Because P.J. Halter can throw a couple balls across the middle, call a timeout, and maybe you can sneak a field goal.
Because, again, they're number 10.
Johnston,
yeah, he's good from 45, Coach Wood said. He likes his leg. He was a former soccer guy. So, again, you get the ball on the 35-yard line. It is critical here. It is critical that Clayton plays with some high safeties here. You can put pressure, but you need to have some high safeties and cannot leave that middle of the field wide open like they had earlier in the game.
So because of the ball being kicked out of bounds, Pennsville starts with 35 at the 35 with 18 seconds left. No time taken off the clock. I'll get it right. And Pennsville now in the driver's seat if they choose to do so. It looks like they're in victory formation, though, so they'll probably just take a knee and then talk about things at the half, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Well, a well-played football game by Pennsville. Clayton is still trying to figure its way out, but I tell you what, you go into the locker room with a score, and it really changes kind of your confidence level.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does. And I think, again, it's the right thing there by Coach Wood. You know, hey, we're up 2 scores. We're up 2 scores. You know, our first half has been really good. You know, so you could put that last little drive aside. But now, all of a sudden, if you're Coach Tucker, hey, we're right in this game. And you know how hard this team worked. And the harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. There's still 24 minutes left in this game, so it should be for an exciting second half.
Group 1 championship game brought to you by Atlantic City Electric. It's been electric. Pennsville leads 21-6 at the half. Stick around. We'll have second half action for you. Welcome back. Pennsville to kick it away here. Clayton to receive. Frank, we talked about this game could take on a whole new complexion if Clayton is able to orchestrate a drive here. P.J. Halter will kick it away, and we are underway here in the second half. It's a short pooch taken at the 21-yard line. Jackson with a good return and stretches it out to the 40-yard line. That was actually Devin Carr. 1st and 10. Clayton with excellent field position to start things here in the third quarter. Have an opportunity to take a look at our first half stats, and one of the things, of course, that plagued Clayton was penalties. You see, in terms of the rushing yardage, Clayton with the edge, and first down's relatively even, but it's the score that always matters. And the throwing of P.J. Halter has really been a big difference. Pitch, Corey Carr, and it looks like a penalty flag. Things are starting right where they left off.
That is true, and it's a shame because there's your first positive play. You're getting 11 yards, but then you can also make the argument that play doesn't happen without the hold. But now you're behind the sticks. Here you go. You start. It's a spot foul, so you're probably looking at 1st and 20. That's not an ideal way to be 14 seconds into the second half, and now here you are staring at a 1st and 20.
There again, you see at the half total plays, Pennsville with the better of it. Passing yards relatively lopsided, and the big thing is, I think, look at the completion percentage of P.J. Halter.
He was dealing. There's no doubt about it. He was 9 of 12 in the first half, for that 179 yards. He had a really good first half.
1st down and 20 to start things now. Opening drive of the second half. Quick hitter up the middle, not a whole lot there. And Clayton, as a coach, Frank, you continue to get penalties against you. Are you frustrated with your players? Are you frustrated with the referees?
All the above.
Yes.
All the above in that situation you are. And I think as a coach, you have to try to channel it on the sidelines, because you just want to scream, rip up your play card. You want to do everything. But you got to realize, again, keep your composure, especially right now in this situation of the game. And you have to remember, man, you're 24 minutes away from being the champion. So you have to keep that kind of in perspective as well.
Second down. And we may have a legal motion here. Looks like they got away with it. Hannah out of the pocket. Hannah throws. It's going to be a jump ball coming back for it, tipped up. And there is a penalty flag, pass interference, as the Pennsville defender could not get his head around. And again, it's Gibson.
Gibson was the intended receiver. They were taking a shot. Hannah couldn't get that ball off on time because of some pressure. He had him initially down. He's running a nice post route. If you take a look, his eyes were going left here. Kind of gets flushed out of the pocket. Now he tries, and now it's hard to set into this throw. Again, you're throwing over a 6'6" kid right there. And now we have number 11 there, P.J. Halter, just gets tied up, not looking back at the ball.
So remember, it's a 15-yard penalty in high school.
It's not the worst case scenario. Sometimes if you're beat, 15 yards is better than 6 points.
Do you think it should be an automatic first down?
You know what? No.
Okay.
I also don't think 5 yards in the NFL should automatically be it too. But no, earn it. It's 2nd and 1 here. All of a sudden now you're right back at your whole playbook at your disposal.
2nd down for the Clippers. They've traded penalties here on the opening drive. The pitch And across midfield, still burrowing forward. Nice little run. And it looked like it was Donovan Allen on the carry.
It was really, really good block there by Tariq Jackson off the edge.
First and 10, Clayton.
Here you go now. This is exactly what we talked about at halftime, right? Momentum has changed maybe a little bit. You know, that pass interference call is going to help. Ball on the 42 going in.
First down and 10. Clayton with so many weapons running the football, and there's the chief one. Tyreek Jackson cuts it across, and a fine defensive play made. It looked like he had a little bit of room, and that was shut down quickly.
Still a great first down play. You know, 6 yards, 2nd and 4 now. You know, Ren's giving up his body there. He's coming in trying to crack back the edge defender there, and, you know, just give this kid a little seam, and he can go. He can move.
In your perfect world, if you're Clayton, do you want a quick score or do you want a long, drawn-out score where you're just kind of physically beating them up?
You know, a little of both. But you want to make a statement here in the second half. You know, that last drive wasn't a fluke, and you're going to be in for a battle in the second half.
Second down. Again, quick hitter up the middle, still maintaining his balance and driving forward for the first down. Clayton now starting to feel it.
Caleb Brooks there right up the gut. There was just a straight old-fashioned dive. You know, no one pulled, no misdirection. Here you go, big fella. Take the ball and go. Great job up front. Good balance there, breaking Sullen's tackle. And then it took a host of Eagles to get him down.
Clayton really benefiting from that pass interference call. First and 10 at the 26. And again, another penalty. It's going to be procedure.
They went to that wishbone attack, and it looked like it was Brooks that just jumped a little early.
Frank, as a coach, I mean, what do you see?
You know, right now, is Mr. Momentum having a change of address? You know, it's so important in a game. It is, because you had Pennsville that kind of dominated the scoreboard. You know, not necessarily the game itself. First downs were 7-6 in the first half. You know, but you're here again.
Is it nerves? Is it lack of focus, lack of discipline? What is it?
Nah, you know what? Maybe a little both. You know, Clayton's a good football team. Both teams are here for a reason.
First and 15. Fake pitch, quarterback will keep. Across the 30, driving it forward. They'll pick up about 6 or 7. Nice little carry by the quarterback, Hannah.
And now, shame, it goes back to that penalty now on first down, because you're sitting here looking at 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, rather than 2nd and 8.
Quenzel and Hannah, a senior, and the offense of Clayton really a byproduct of his athleticism. Second down and 8. Third quarter, Pennsville on top 21-6. Pitch, Jackson, he'll cut it back, and Jackson will push forward to about the 22-yard line. That's going to bring up a 3rd down and 5, and Frank, we're in 4-down territory here. Maybe see an underneath screen here or continue to pound it inside.
You're in 2 down. So, you know, again, they're moving the ball effectively on the ground. Screenplay has been good to them. You know, it's been good to them. They had one that just, you know, didn't connect, and then they had one that got them down to the 4-yard line on that last drive. You know, but then conversely, there was one earlier that was sniffed out pretty good by the corner, P.J. Halter.
Again, 3 running backs for Quenzel. Hannah fakes the pitch, drops back, has a man in the flat. Across the 10, angles toward the end zone, finally brought down at the 4.
Caleb Brooks. It's a really nice play. They faked that little inside trap, faked the toss, and then snuck Brooks back out. You're going to see him. He's going to come right back down into flat, you know, kind of away from all the defenders. And unfortunately, there, Dutton was just a step behind, and it was a beautifully thrown ball. Red zone.
Caleb Brooks has featured in this drive, just a junior. First and goal now for the Clippers. They've been down here before. They're 50% inside the red zone, and right on cue, a penalty. Frank, I've been doing football for a long time. I don't know that I've seen it like this.
No, you know, and you're sometimes you're guilty in this game, because you do know You do know what's at stake, and it really takes, you just got to calm down. And I know it's easier said than done. We were in a situation last year, we had a couple penalties, we had to call a timeout. It's like, relax. It's week 12. At some point, they just have to, this muscle memory has to go, what they've been doing all year. It's no different than Friday night in Clayton.
This is why we're gray.
Correct.
First down and goal. The pitch, and in and out of the hands of Jackson. Jackson falls on it, and it falls out of his hands. Wow. As if things couldn't get worse for Clayton. Just totally inexplicable. Jackson tried to jump on the football as he's coached. It's unfortunate because his back was to the play. He had time to pick it up. Squirts in and out of his hands.
Yeah, if you look, he's trying to get it. He's trying to scramble it, get in there. And, oh my goodness, that's a play that you can star that one because that's a huge play in the game. Good job by number 67, Kevin Bob for Pennsville, jumping on the ball. Here you go. If you're looking for plays that you want to come back to, 6:33, left in the third quarter here, and they were driving.
You can't win championships when you're only 1 for 3 in the red zone.
Fact.
1st and 10. Halter hands to Bard, and he pushes forward for about 3 or 4. On that pitch, it looked like Hannah had a little bit of mustard on it, but I think Jackson may have just peaked a little bit.
Yeah, true. How many times they have probably have successfully completed that little pitch.
No, Frank, I've seen more flags than your report card. I mean, it's been unbelievable today.
Wow. They played with 12 guys on the field that play.
It's one way of stopping them.
Hey, come on!
If you're Clayton, you almost feel like I got to call a timeout here. But you don't want to burn your timeouts.
It's the truth. And again, you just watch that drive. That drive was great. They some self-inflicted wounds. You need to, you're right. If this comes down to, you get this thing a little closer, you're going to need every second on the clock.
1st and 10. Bard breaks 1 tackle and won't break 2. If you're Ryan Wood, you probably give a steady diet to Bard here. He's your sure-handed guy. He's kind of your little bowling ball, as Ryan Wood likes to describe him, and just roll him forward.
No doubt. No doubt. Really good play there by number 80 on the edge there. Fighting off the block and making the tackle.
Again, it's Bard. Bard breaking the initial tackle and driving forward. It's funny, when I talked to Coach Wood the other night, I said, tell me a little bit about Bard. And he said, you look at him and you go, nothing really to him, but you just keep giving him the ball and he just keeps coming away with a little bit more and he gives you everything he can and you start to fall in love with him. So Bard is stopped there on 3rd down. That's a big stop by Clayton, but you just still feel like a huge opportunity was missed.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, there's Rem blitzing in the backfield. It's a big 4th down here. They're going to attempt to go for this. Maybe they watch out for hard count here. No play.
I think you got a quick kick here because Halter is your punter. Or maybe you try to draw him off sides. Fourth down, Halter. I think this is a case where he backs up maybe another 4 steps and lets one fly. We'll see. Wow. Illegal procedure. He jumped because he had someone in motion and it was Bard. I tell you what, this is a Clayton crowd that just had an opportunity to exhale.
They did because Pennsville had no intentions of running a play there.
No.
That's what I'm saying, hard count, try to draw them off sides here. It was complete no play there. Hut. Reed shifted back in the backfield just to make it look like you called your play. And then all of a sudden, you get the simultaneous movement, but 31, Bard unfortunately budged forward.
And that's a good job by Coach Wood. I mean, 5 yards is going to kill you, but it could turn around your fortunes if you draw them off sides. Low punt, and Jackson's going to let it bounce, and it's going to roll to about the 22, 23-yard line. It's, again, high school football is so much different from college and professional football, and there you see one of the examples because you have a quarterback who is your punter, and now there's so many different things that you can do as a result of that.
No doubt. You have that quick kick option, as you mentioned, and then you can run, you can throw. You have your whole offense sitting in front of you. It just, you're right that you don't see that at any other level, because these guys have just become specialists in their areas, and that's all they do. That's all they do during practice. They sit there and they punt and work on their craft and continue to get better.
Well, Clayton is 2 touchdowns away and 2 extra points away, or excuse me, 2-point conversions away from taking the lead. But they're going to need to put together a drive here. Carr strings it outside, and Carr it will be stopped by P.J. Halter. And now we may have a late hit. We'll take a look, and I think this is a case, too, where if you're Coach Wood, you say, listen, hey, we have this game. We can't beat ourselves. That's the only way we're going to lose this thing.
No, and that's a free 15 there. I think Brian Dutton there, I think, is going to be guilty of the late hit, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And it's a shame. Again, you just got your motor going. He's been around the ball. We've mentioned his name probably 4 or 5 times in the first half. He had a really, really sound first half. He's flying around. Just got to understand when to pull up and control yourself a little bit.
As a coach, after you've had a big turnover inside the red zone, isn't there an impulse to say we got to get that score back right away? There's a problem of maybe being impatient. We'll talk about that in just a second. Here's Hannah keeping, and Hannah will be brought down close to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, there's a difference. Again, you want everything. You want quick strikes, but you still have to maintain your game plan.
Yep.
And on Clayton's side, initially in that first half, they were just moving. In terms of Pennsville's offense, we're going right through them. So you still need to maintain the ball. When you get into some of these teams that are just really good offensively, 3 and outs aren't always bad if the clock is continuing to move.
Right.
But they got that one series. Remember, they went 3 straight shots, and they took off maybe 16 seconds of actual playing time. So you got to be very careful not to lose the game because of being impulsive.
Second down, we'll call it 7. Handoff, Allen, and it is Simpkins who stops. Pickup of maybe 2 or 3, and that'll bring up a key third down here. Let's get ahead of ourselves here, Frank. If you pick up maybe 2 yards here, maybe 1.5 yards, is it too early to go on 4th down?
With the stretch pass, the toss passes that we've seen, probably not. They're going to roll the dice and go. Again, this is a rapidly played third quarter. There's only 2 minutes left in the quarter, and so possessions are critical.
Again, right up the gut, and it's Jackson. Well, we're going to find out because he picked up about 1.5 yards, 2 yards, as I mentioned. So here it is. Do you send out the punt team? It looks like that's what they're going to do.
This is one I'm glad I'm up here with you, Rob, with the headset on.
First of all, I know you are not glad to be up here. You would much rather be down there on the field.
But this is one of those ones. It's not Coach Tucker gets the big bucks here, right? No, this is going to be one that you question, regardless of what happens, unless they draw them off sides here. And
you got to watch the fake. You have Elijah Rem, who has tremendous athleticism, who's going to punt this away. Rem, and he does keep. Rem carries, and Rem is short. I'm expecting the fake punt there. Maybe you have a better chance of making it in your offensive set.
You're not struggling to move the ball. And let's be honest, right now you are not. You took the opening kickoff, you drove it down to the 10, you fumbled, unfortunately. There you just went 3 plays, you went 9 yards. So, maybe you do. You want to line up, give your best guy the ball, which they did kind of, Rem's one of their best.
Same thing. Because the other team knows if you're going on 4th down, you go a hard count, maybe draw them off sides, and then you run your play. But, again, it's a lot easier up here in the press box.
Yep.
1st and 10, Halter. Quick drop, looks, throws a floater for Boucher, caught. so hard to defend.
That's probably a 23-yard fade route, but again, it's that double move. His eyes are going one side. You know, he's pumping things, getting defense to flow, but they're locking up in that man coverage again, right? And Boucher, he knows how to run routes, and you put the ball anywhere near in his area, he's catching this.
The pressure on Halter has been minimal at best, and that is what has really hurt this Clayton defense. Inside of 80 seconds remaining, 1st and 10, P.J. Halter will hand it off to Bard. Bard with a big hole, and from up here, it looked like he had an opportunity to cut that back and find a seam.
He did, and then it just became good old-fashioned power running at that point. Going back to what you're saying, you're not going to be the kid in the hallway. You're saying he's our fullback or he's our bruising back, but when he puts the pads on, you clearly see what kind of player he is.
So at this point, the Pennsville Eagles are into ball control mode here. Just run the football, eat clock. P.J. Halter, hard count, trying to draw him off sides. Clock continues to move. Maybe the last play of this third quarter. We'll see. And again, a handoff inside. Cut, and we're going to have a penalty flag here. It looked like that play had so much promise from Brennan Rico, but it's going to come back.
Calling a face mask here on Clayton.
I guess I spoke too soon.
It's just the way it's been. It's been a lot of people, shooting themselves in the foot today a little bit here.
There it is, personal foul, face mask. You know, Frank, when you get to a championship, the one thing you don't want to do when it's all said and done, okay, we lost, as long as we don't beat ourselves. And that's what Clayton's doing right now, and that's what's disappointing from a coaching standpoint, because you want these kids to win so bad, and you just want them to be able to perform on the big stage. Handoff inside, Bard pushing forward, and he's shy of the end zone, and that will probably do it here for the third quarter. It is the Group 1 championship game. Pennsville leading Clayton by the score of 21-6. Your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and there you see the start of the fourth quarter, resulting in a Pennsville touchdown. And that looks like the exclamation point on it, as Brennan Rico becomes your 4th member of Pennsville to breach the goal line. Johnston, Bard, Boucher, and now Rico. And Pennsville will look to tack on an additional point. Johnston's kick is up. It's a low line drive, and it is good. 28-6, and now we have, of course, a late penalty because we haven't had one in 2 consecutive plays.
They may call Rem for hurdling and leaping over the pile. I don't know if that's what the discussion is right now. He took a running start and tried to nope. All right.
You know what?
Good talk.
Listen, they may have just, said, listen, we've had enough of that today. But even if you are Clayton and you get a penalty on that play because that's what Rem tried to do, as a coach, I say, hey, I still love you for it.
No doubt.
Because there's no quit there. We're still going to win this game. It's got to be the mindset.
It is. And again, you'd never take these opportunities for granted. You don't know when you're going to get back here.
Yep.
Clayton didn't win a playoff game since 1991. And here they are. So you need to empty the tank, and you can't say, well, there's next year. Well, yeah, there's next year. We're going to tell you that there's, you're going to play football next year, but there's no guarantee that it's ending in this venue, for a title.
Clayton has had 12 penalties today, so we're not even into the fourth quarter, essentially. So 4 penalties per quarter coming into this, and it feels like maybe 20 penalties. I mean, it seems like every time there's been a critical play, it's reared its ugly head.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's exactly what we kind of talked about with Coach Tucker before the game about eliminating penalties. And penalties and turnovers.
Short kick. It'll be taken at about the 13-yard line. Rem cuts it outside. Rem has a man to beat. He won't beat him. Good return nonetheless. And Rem pats his opponent on the head. And, I've never met Elijah Rem, haven't had an opportunity to talk to him, but I can tell you that kid can play on my team any day of the week. I mean, he seems to be a gentleman and a competitor, and that's all you can ask in a young man.
He plays hard. He empties a tank on each play. He's running hard on that returning, and credit here, Zach Battle. That's his second tackle today on kickoff, and Rem's not an easy guy to bring down. So clearly now we're in 4-down territory for the rest of the game here, for Clayton. They can't afford a punt, so let's see, they'll probably open it up here as they do here, coming out in 2-by-2 set here.
Working out of the shotgun now. Hannah has Rem in motion. Hannah, misdirection. Tyreek Jackson fumbles, picks it up. He's across the 30. And he'll get what's very close to a first down. Frank, that is not a design play. I want you to know that as a coach.
You dribble it once, you break contain. And
it's like a rugby play where they run down, they bounce it on the ground.
It is. Right now I think, from a defensive standpoint, this is where Rob Sullivan might be able to take over the game, because they're going to have to chuck this thing.
I was just looking at that.
And now he's going to be left probably one-on-one on the edge.
Yep.
But you got yourself a pretty good matchup there with him over right now on Frazier.
That is a good matchup. And again, we talked about Solon being recruited by major Division I schools. Hannah throws underneath, caught, and that'll be enough for the first down.
I think the most important thing there was Pennsville caught and made a great tackle.
Yep.
That's it. Get that 5-yard completion.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of the game, it's kind of a bend, don't break mentality. First down at 10 at the 46-yard line.
Again, you look at the replay there, and that's a great tackle there by Van Blarkum. Catch it great, no PI. Make sure you break your feet down and make the tackle.
And Van Blarkum had one of the bigger games of this afternoon, stealing that ball away from Rem earlier in the first half. Hannah out of the shotgun, getting some pressure from Simpkins. Hannah outruns his man, and now he'll angle towards the sideline and wisely save some time off the clock as opposed to trying to lunge for that first down.
Again, he's very athletic, and now you're saving clock. 9 yards, first down, second one, here you go. And if you notice, most Qs, especially right-handed guys, are going to try to flush themselves out right.
Yep.
And, someone's on the right, on the defensive right. Maybe you're going to flip-flop them right here, like right now. Mm-hmm. There you go. So that's where he's kind of flushing himself out. Well, now you got one of your best on their best.
Trips left for Hannah. Second down, we'll call it 2. Deep drop, flushed out of the pocket. He'll go to his left now. Throws it deep, has his man, throw it up, and unable to come down with it is Gibson. Again, Gibson came to the ball when, in fact, he probably needed to go to the ball.
Correct. He kind of stopped his feet. His feet came to a stop a little bit, readjusted his route. And again, you're going to have to play it. In this situation, you got to make it. You got to make it. Everyone at this, when you go home and you're looking at this thing later tonight, there's going to be plays that you want back, and that's probably one on Gibson's part.
We've seen that from Clayton today, where they frankly just misjudged the football, and that's unfortunate. Third down and short. Hannah has done a good job today. The stats won't show it, but he has done a good job. Here's the draw to Jackson. Jackson pushes, but he's not going to make it. So now fourth down and about 1.
This is a critical, to say the least, fourth down here.
Obviously, if Clayton has the chances of a comeback here are relatively slim, but they become essentially 0 if they don't make it here. Who do you go to?
You got to go. You probably got to get some way, somehow, get the ball to Jackson.
Don't try to get a push from your center and just allow your quarterback to go forward.
Take a look at the box here, right? You got a ton of guys up in there trying to, probably thinking quarterbacks. Yeah, you're right on. Quarterback sneak. Here you go. Just by formation, you got it.
And on the quarterback
I'm ready to be a football
You're ready.
coach, Frank.
You will switch. I will take your
Do you
third base at
do you
Eastern.
have any openings?
We'll switch, buddy. I say let's go conservative. They're going to throw toss pass. You say sneak. Let's go.
Maybe that's why you're successful, because everybody else thinks they know what you're doing, and you do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
First down
Here
and
we
10.
go.
Hannah, deep drop with time, throws it across the middle, tipped up. And there was a whole lot of Eagles there. They had the full nest.
There was. Some kind of miscommunication there as well. Pre-snap, the left side, Hannah's left side barely got into their route when the other side was already halfway down the field trying to run that crossing route again by Rem. Tip balls are never usually a good thing. And that almost didn't end well for Clayton there either.
I mean, don't you think you're more apt to have success out on the ends there, where you can kind of isolate one-on-one, as opposed to going something in the middle where you have all that traffic?
Yeah, no, it's fair. And then you just got to look, how they're playing it. They're playing with two high safeties here and playing a variation of cover two. Hey, look what we have.
We're going to have to take the referees to Dr. Job, because they're going to have rotator injuries after throwing so many flags.
They're just going to start dropping them in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is penalty 13 now on the Clippers.
I don't know how you explain that. You got to think that it's nerves.
No doubt. Maybe the stage was maybe a little too big.
Hannah flushed out, and no call as someone was tackled, thrown up, and this time Gibson comes away with it. I tell you what, Clayton got away with one there. And we'll get a chance to take a look at the replay. There wasn't blocking, there was just flat out tackling there. Look to your left here. There you see it, just slung to the ground.
Yeah, Frazier got away with one there, but hey, it's not a penalty until they call it correct. But now you look, and now you see Gibson just absolutely out-jump somebody, Halter right there to try to make that play. Their ability is there.
That's what I talked about. Throw it to the edges where you can isolate and use your athleticism.
41-yard completion. The ability is there. They have very good athletes. And unfortunately, they just aren't performing at the level that they need to be today.
Clayton knocking on the door once again. Hannah rolls out, throws underneath. And nice play. Rico breaks it up. Second down.
Brennan Rico, second down. Second and goal.
Circles back here. It's another red zone opportunity. It's their fourth time. The previous three trips, they've only had, come out successful one time.
They shot themselves in the foot the first series. A critical penalty backed them up. Scored on the second, and the third one we had the unfortunate pitch that Tyreek Jackson was unable to handle. Fell on the football, it squirted out, and it's kind of between that and the penalties, it's kind of been the way things have gone for Clayton today. Hannah pitches to Jackson. Jackson has a lot of space. Jackson cuts it outside and closed down nicely by Van Blarcom. It looked from here like he had an opportunity, but Van Blarcom played the open space well.
He played it perfectly. There's no doubt he kind of feathered him to the sidelines, used the sidelines as his friend there. Kept his outside pad clean and kept the blocker on his inside shoulder and was able to force the
and just as things couldn't get worse for Clayton, Tyreek Jackson runs off, and it looks like he may have a cramp. 9 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in this football game, and Clayton desperately needs a touchdown, trailing 28-6. Handoff inside. Donovan Allen bowls his way forward, and he's going to be just short.
It's fourth down here in inches, but we got to move, right? I know there's 9 minutes left in the game, but your season's on the line here. We got to get there. You go. No huddle. Where are you going here? You going quarterback sneak again, Rob?
I am.
Good. I'm with you now.
All right. Then they won't do that.
Let's roll. Play action. Here it is.
Hannah with the push. Hannah, it's very close. And they're saying he did not make it. Wow.
That is a great stand. And if when you're going with a quarterback sneak, the last thing you want to do is kind of just plow through over your center. You want to try to take a little half step backward, try to find a little crease so you can more kind of dive in that situation.
And elevate.
Yep. Yeah. Either way, if you can find a little crease where you can dive over the line, either up or down, it doesn't make a difference.
Yep.
But just sitting there, and you got everyone shortening, condensing their splits in there, creating a nice pile there. You want to make sure that your Q has the opportunity to find a little bit of a seam.
I get a feeling we're going to get a steady dose of Bard here.
You're going to see under center.
Halter hands it off. And not a whole lot there, but able to create some breathing room.
Moves the ball out to about the 5-yard line.
Hard to see here. It looked like it may have been Rico. I'm not sure who carried the football there.
It had to be their up guy, the fullback, because their deep half running back guy, he got tackled in the end zone.
Second down, clock continuing to move, approaching the 8-minute mark.
There you go. It's the exact same play as it was last time, Rob. Rico's kind of small in there. They're just kind of wedge blocking in there and getting themselves out of there, bringing up a nice 3rd and 1.
Well, again, Clayton is going to be hard-pressed to stop this. You have a big guy, Solon. I mean, do you run it behind him here?
You could. You absolutely could. Then that's going to have to force you to get to the edge, and right now you're kind of doing all right up the gut here. So let's see what they do here if they come out under center in their 3-back deal. 2 tights, 3 backs.
Critical 3rd down and 1. Handoff, and that's a 1st down. So Bard bullies his way forward. Actually, it was Rico once again.
There you go. Give it to him and just let him eat a little bit. That was 3 carries there for him for basically 15 yards to get him out of it. Hey, you know what? You probably might see him just kind of same mentality. They're not going to go no huddle here. They're going to slow it down, limit possessions here, and try to milk this clock.
Well, a little over 7 minutes remaining, and it's going to be a short 7 most likely. Pennsville will keep it on the ground and just try to eat up clock. Preparations being made as we speak. Big party in Pennsville tonight. Bard into the secondary and just shy of the 1st down.
No doubt. And their road wasn't easy. I know there's still 6-something left in the game, but anytime you have to defeat Woodbury, you got to beat Paulsboro. They're 2 teams that have 23 sectional titles to their credit. So you look at the bracket, these are guys that are perennial Group 1 powerhouses. So it's a remarkable run, for Pennsville.
I've been very impressed with the junior P.J. Halter. He has really had a calming presence over this offense. He's made wise decisions as a quarterback, and that's all you can ask, particularly in a game of this magnitude.
He gets it. He understands the game real well. He even watches fits defensively. How he plays the corner position now. You just watch now, as you said, calming influence. He's taking a peek at the official here on the near sidelines. Waiting for his chop, trying to milk every second of the clock now, and there's a chance here that they might end up and run this game right on out here without ever get Clayton seeing the ball again.
So Halter getting the play from Coach Ryan Wood inside of 6 minutes remaining. Remember, this drive started at the 1-yard line, and now they are just dominating Clayton at the point of attack. Handoff again. Right now it's just kind of a Clayton team that is a little beat up emotionally, I think.
They are. There's no doubt. And when the dust settles, because when you're in a final and you come up short, it's never easy to deal with.
No.
But you're going to look back at a 9-3 season. Very proud. Coach Tucker's going to be extremely proud of his Clippers. Can they last playoff win was in '91. And you're sitting here and you're 48 minutes away from winning the title. There's a ton to be proud of. Today you're not going to realize it. You're not going to think it, but let it set in a little bit what he's done for the community. And
here's Bard Bard still on his feet. He'll have enough for the first down.
Rob, just take a look at the fans there that are here. Now, when was the last time Clayton had a fan base like this assembled for a football team? And it's tremendous. This was just tremendous for the school.
And you know what? No one's leaving. They want to stay here. And again, these young men who are out on the field, although they may not win this game, they are the collective heroes of that town. 16 carries, 79 yards for Nick Bard. And we talked before about how he doesn't do anything exceptional. He just gets the job done. He's kind of your lunch pail guy.
He does, and you got to love those guys. Bring your hard hat, your lunch pail every day, and go to work in your work boots, and good things will happen.
First and 10, Pennsville from their own 40 for 16 remaining in the
First and 10. Clock continues to move as we approach the 4-minute mark. Hand off inside. And right now, it's just Pennsville dominating at the line of scrimmage.
There it is, and you just right. You said, hey, steady dive right behind Rob Sullen, and also number 67, Kevin Bob. They're just doing a really nice job up front. Hey, all those linemen did it. I've done a tremendous job today, for Pennsville. Townsend, Sherman, Dunton, Simpkins, and Bob. They deserve a lot of credit here because they provided huge holes and ample time for Halter to sit back in the first half and kind of pick Clayton apart a little bit.
Second and 6.
Second down, 6 to go. Again, inside. Here's Bard. Breaks it outside. Tripped up just across midfield. Again, another first down. Coming into the season, Ryan Wood, 7 years, 7 playoff appearances, 4 semifinals in the last 5 years. He said to me before the game, I really want this one. And I said, don't you want everyone? And of course you do as a coach. But, I think in speaking with him, he takes a tremendous amount of pride in the fact that he's won a state championship as a baseball coach, and now he has the opportunity to do it as a football coach. And, he lost to Glassboro in 2011 in the championship game. And, again, as you talked about, you're never quite sure whether or not you're going to have an opportunity to come back again. And Coach Wood has just done an exceptional job with this program. And he's taken great pride in what he's accomplished here, and rightfully so. And again, can't get out a few sentences without a penalty flag. But
why not? No, but Coach Wood is an extremely hard worker. Him and his staff have done just a phenomenal job. Just to echo what you're saying there. And they're moments away from their school's third title. The last one was in '81, and their first one was in 1974. So Pennsville's not, the guy's 2 minutes and 40 seconds away from celebrating.
So they will mark off the penalty. And it looks like Matt Widmeyer will come into the game for P.J. Halter. Widmeyer is a senior quarterback, and throughout the season, Widmeyer and Halter really split time. But, Coach Wood said Halter's done a great job. We're going to ride the hot hand, and obviously a wise decision as Halter has done an exceptional job. But Widmeyer will have an opportunity to finish up his high school career on the field and as a champion. 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. Widmeyer will run down some clock before he snaps it. Bard. And still working. Bard leaning. Again, a reminder. They're not doing anything exceptional here. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run it up the middle. This started at the 1-yard line.
It did, and it's been Bard. It has been him, and this is one of the, from an offensive line standpoint, this is no better feeling than you imposing your will on somebody and knowing that you're going to close this game out and you're going to win yourself a title.
27-yard line. And Widmeyer again will look over to the referee to see if he can eat up some additional clock. Hands off, it's Bard. Bard this time stopped at about the line of scrimmage. And again, another late penalty here. And it looks like someone from Clayton just tried to take a piece out of a Pennsville player. At least that's the way it looked from up here.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of emotion right now going. You know, you're so close. Now you know you're at this point in the game. There's very little hope. So you're just, it's frustration. There's no doubt.
Well, it looked like they took Justin Bryan off the field. I'm not sure if that's who the call was on, but now with that first down and 1:23 left, you can get into victory formation and you can start figuring out who's buying the cups and who's buying the hats for the party tonight.
Pretty much. It's one of those deals. And there's hammer victory, we always tell our guys, is the greatest play in football.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully you get the opportunity to do that each week. Yeah.
Here comes Simpkins off the
For
field.
a well-deserved hand. These Pennsville fans know exactly who the heart and soul of that team is. Great hug there. Great moment between coach and player.
You can hear in the background the applause. Everybody from Pennsville understands just how important Simpkins has been to this football team and this program as a whole. We mentioned that in the open. And a nice little touch there by Coach Wood, allowing him to get a big round of applause. And now, as we mentioned, Pennsville in victory formation. Whitmire takes a knee. Probably have to snap it one more time. Here you go. Get the Gatorade.
Oh, they're trying. You know, it's in the rules.
Yeah.
No Gatorade is allowed to be dumped.
Oh, is that
on
right?
Yeah, that's what they tell you. If you read the paperwork that you get before these games,
okay.
There's a lot of things that you're allowed to do, you're not allowed to do. Here you go. Simpkins going to try to get it.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to get a couple of those in my career, but the difference is that it's 80 degrees outside when I get it.
Yours is in June. Yours is in June. But you
right.
know what? There's no greater feeling, you know, when you're able to act, when you're taking his knee, and you know it's what you just did for the, you know, it's almost hard to describe. And there's so, oh, they're going to go with the little water bottles. Well done, guys.
Well, that will do it. Pennsville victorious 28-6. Your 2015 Group 1 champions. Ryan Wood adds to his mantle, now boasting a football championship to his fine resume. But before we talk about Pennsville, let's just talk about Clayton. What a season they had.
Ah, phenomenal. And again, you're going to look at this and you're going to be very proud. Today, you're feeling awful, but let's not look what you just did. You're representing your community, your town. You're representing, you know, your school. Look at this, all the fans that are here right now. Stayed with us to the end of the game here. You know what Coach Tucker and his staff have been able to do. You know, this is going to go really, really improve their program and going forward. You know, it's something to build on, and I'm sure, you know, their juniors are going to know what this feels like. You know, that's going to fuel them. They're going to get back in the weight room and get ready to go. And then you'll have the seniors that are going to know that they were a part of this, the team that got them here. So at the end of the day, you're going to feel good. Just no consolation prize, Coach. You know when you're in these things, they're meant to be won. But bottom line is, you know, Clayton has come a long way, and they do have a lot to be proud of.
You make a great point. It'll be interesting to see if this game really changes the entire complexion of Clayton football.
Good. It absolutely could. You know, next year, instead of having 30, 34 guys, maybe you have 40. And then all of a sudden, maybe it starts to build a little bit. You know, and the D-size schools, you know, let's be honest, Coach Wood's going to basketball practice on Monday because he's the basketball coach too.
Yeah.
You know, so everyone's going there back to their other sports, but that's what you want, you know. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're talking to their basketball buddies, and here you go. Now you got 2 more basketball players maybe didn't play football out, and then they're going to go to baseball, and they're going to pull 3 more of their baseball buddies out. Next thing you know, your program, hey, it was a lot of fun. It was awesome to play in that atmosphere. You know, but again, there's no magic dust. There's no magic formula. You got to work hard to get here, and there's only one person at the end of the day in each of the groups in South Jersey. They're happy, you know.
For Pennsville, this is a team that obviously has not won a championship since 1981, and obviously a town that has got a tremendous amount of pride. That young man, Compazeni, has been really a a huge part of this team because of the tragic accident that he had to endure over the summer. And, you know, a Cinderella season that maybe brings a little bit of joy to his family, something that is well-deserved.
Again, people think that athletics are just a game. Look at the hugs.
Yep.
Look at the tears. Look at the emotion. This hug that's going to happen here between Coach Wood, bringing them. This isn't just a game, Rob.
Yep.
It's not. It's a family. It's what you get out of it. They're going to end up being best friends for, you know, forever. Your teammates. Think about who you need, who you count on in life. It's those guys who there's some unity through hardship. Well, now look at this. How great is this? They're going to be able to give this kid a championship jacket, put a ring on his finger. So again, these are the people, his teammates, who helped him and his family through this difficult time. So people said it's just a game. I'm going to respectfully disagree with that statement.
Well, just a poignant way to end an unbelievable season for Pennsville. They are your Group 1 champions. Hats off to Coach Wood and all of the Eagles. Again, just it's been an emotional year for them, and in many ways you can't help but feel good, even if you're not a Pennsville fan, because of the backstory as to what transpired here. You see them collectively coming together as a team, and no doubt they will collectively come together tonight as a town.
No, and there's no celebration like it, you know, and you're able to winning championships are special. And again, when you know you've been the first to do it since 1981, there's a little bit, you know, there's that different bond. You know, when we were fortunate enough to win in 10, you know, to be the first team to do it since the advent of the playoff system, it's definitely a special thing.
Well, that'll do it here from Glassboro, New Jersey, on the campus of Rowan University, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week here on the GCEN. Pennsville defeating Clayton 28-6. They are your 2015 Group 1 champions. For my partner, Frank Delano, my director, Stan Ritter, and all of the crew, I'm Rob Christ. Thanks again for joining us. Good night, everybody.
We'll be right back.